Very much. We're beginning a new series this morning called What If? NBC national correspondent Kate Snow will be introducing into some ordinary people thrust into extraordinary circumstances.
And this morning, the surprising number of young people having strokes and one man's remarkable journey. It's really inspiring. Kate, good morning.
Good morning, Savannah. And Matt, when you hear that someone suffered from a stroke, we tend to think of an older person with gray hair, a life of experiences. But what if a stroke hits while you're young? What if it came on suddenly? It wiped out 95% of your memories. First day of school, first kiss, all gone in a flash. Well, that happened last fall when Joe Miller was just about to turn 25. And as you'll see, he's committed to living life to the fullest all over again for the first time. Hey. You must be Joe.
Hey, girl, what's up?
How are you? The way Joe Miller greets you, you'd never guess he was on his deathbed a few short months ago. Joe was a seemingly healthy 24-year-old, an aspiring artist, working a whole bunch of jobs in L.A. to stay afloat, constantly on Instagram. Then one night last October, he went to bed with a migraine.
The only reason I remember the time of my migraine was purely because of an Instagram photo I took of myself. It came out twisted. It was a glitch, but I posted it anyways because I felt like it accurately depicted how I was feeling at the time.
3 days later, Joe's roommate found him unconscious on his bedroom floor. He was rushed to the hospital. It was a massive stroke.
The most important thing with respect to stroke treatment is to get to the hospital quickly. In this case, he obviously did not. He may easily have died before coming to the hospital.
Joe's parents flew in from Nebraska. Were there times when you thought you might lose him?
Definitely. I was just so tore up on the inside. And then my wife said, listen, you know, I'm strong during this time, but if he passes away, you have to be strong.
Surgery to relieve pressure on Joe's brain saved his life.
Joe, I love you.
Joe survived.
I'm alive. I didn't die.
But the stroke has taken its toll. Joe lost feeling on the left side of his body.
Still got some work to do.
And about 95% of his memories were gone. The only person you really remembered was your mom, right?
True, yes.
Joe moved back to his parents' home in Nebraska and now lives in the basement. And if it all sounds like a rough situation for a 25-year-old, you just haven't met Joe.
I truly believe I have a new beginning, a fresh start to try things for the first time. This is my first baseball game since my stroke.
He's doing just that and documenting every moment.
Living it for the first time, all over again.
And it turns out all those Instagram posts from before the stroke were like a treasure trove. What was that like when you opened it up and saw all those photos and videos?
I was like, oh man, this kid is crazy.
We're hiking down there.
To help Joe remember, friends sent videos recounting their favorite memories of him.
He just started a massive conga line.
Recovery has not been easy. Medical bills have piled up, and he says his insurance won't cover certain kinds of rehab.
This is a hard one.
So Joe went online to find exercises he can do at home. When you went to a support group for stroke survivors, who was in the room?
I was surrounded by 80, 70, and 60-year-old men and women who suffer
No
strokes.
20-somethings.
No 20-somethings. So how you doing?
So Joe has created his own informal support group, connecting with other young stroke survivors like Maggie in Los Angeles. The most recent research shows the number of young people having strokes has risen. Recovery for them can be a lot different than for older survivors.
Young brains tend to be much more resilient, and their power of recovery is much better.
Joe finds inspiration in his art. His small studio is his sanctuary. Has the work changed since your stroke?
I believe so. This work is right after my stroke. You can see there's a lot of very free-form expression. There's no order. You know, I just pretty much painted these blind.
He asked me to try. You want me to put a blindfold on?
I do.
It was Joe's way of teaching me that even when we're faced with limitations, we can accomplish things we never expected. Oh, wow. Okay, my art, nothing like Joe's art. We tried to capture his creativity and enthusiasm. He is infectious. He's been working on his art. He wants to go back to college, and this summer he's going to work with fashion students at the University of Nebraska to design hip clothes that will be easier for people with disabilities, people who've had strokes, to take on and off. Doctors aren't really sure why Joe had this stroke, but generally there are a lot of reasons, including obesity, high blood pressure, as well as problems with blood vessels and heart abnormalities that are leading young people to have strokes.
Shocking, but I can't imagine anyone handling it better than he did. All right, thank you so much, Kate.